And I'm Kelly.
And this is What You Should Read,
the podcast where we should all over our books.
And today we have a very special guest. We are joined by Kathy Coe. Hi, Kathy. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here.
Kathy, we were just saying that you are in Canada. Is that correct?
Yes. I live in Ontario, Ottawa to be precise.
We're very jealous of you. It would be so nice to be in Canada right now, I think, with the lower COVID numbers as they are.
Yes, definitely. I gotta say I agree.
Well, tell us about what you do in Canada. You are a book blogger, and tell us about your blog.
Yeah, so my blog's name is A Glass of Wine. I pretty much review all different genres, adult, young adult, even some nonfiction, fiction, everything. And I've been blogging, for over 6 years now at this point. And yeah, I just pretty much don't really have a set genre that I like to stick to. And I don't really, I try to mix it up with different posts, like question and answers with authors and things like that. So it isn't, looking at one specific thing.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, you're the perfect person to join us today because today we're doing kind of a special episode. We're not doing our typical format. We are instead giving our listeners a preview of books that are releasing in the fall of 2020. So books that are set to come out for the rest of the year that we are excited about. So we haven't necessarily read them. We might have read some of them if we had early copies, but mostly these are just books that we are excited about and we want other people to know about them. And I just recommend listeners, if you're listening, just get up your Goodreads on your laptop right now and just follow along and add these to your TBR because we have a lot to talk about. And I'm excited because I don't know what Kelly and Rachel have on their list and they don't know what I have on my list. So, and I don't know what Kathy is going to say. So we might have some books in common. So I feel like it's going to be interesting to see which ones we bring to the table, and maybe I know that there will be books that I haven't heard of yet, which I'm also excited about.
Yeah, every time someone has a book that's also on your list, take a shot.
Oh, good idea. Yes.
I was not prepared. I do not have alcohol, but I have my nice Diet Coke right here. But I also want to point out super fast, every time on an earlier episode when we've talked about our friend Kathy, it is this Kathy. So,
is this the Kathy who likes the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice? Oh no! Oh no!
Welcome to the premiere of our new segment, Defend Your Wrong Choices, Kathy.
It's all about the hand flex.
Oh, we're so sorry that we keep bashing your favorite Pride and Prejudice adaptation, but we just speak the truth. So
I'm used to it. It's okay.
Okay, well, since we've already bashed your favorite Pride and Prejudice version, I would like to give you the honor of starting us off. So, Kathy, do you want to start us off with a book that you're excited about for the fall?
Sure. My first pick is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Mm-hmm. And it's basically about a young woman who wants to live forever. So she makes a deal with the devil, and as deals with the devil it goes very wrong because, yes, she can live forever, but she is cursed to have nobody remember her. Until one day, she walks into a bookstore and a young man remembers who she is.
Oh, this was on my list. Yeah,
this is the one I knew about.
Oh, okay. This one, I cannot wait. I love books about characters that live forever. That's one of my favorite things. Have you read Dara Horn's Enchanted, I think it is?
No, I haven't.
It's a similar premise. It's really good. But yeah, I'm any book that has like a time trick to it, I'm into it. So I definitely want to read that.
Did you read Forever by Pete Hamill?
Yes.
Okay, good, because you know what you should read is that one.
Yeah, I read it back in college, I think. So many years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Kelly.
that many. You sweet summer child.
Thank you.
Okay. So my first one is Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. It's out November 10th by Emmanuel Ako. I probably just butchered his last name. But he basically is going to have a book where he talks about everything that we probably should know as white people, but don't ask because it's very uncomfortable. They will include white privilege and cultural appropriation. And I think it's going to be a very hard read, but I'm very excited for it. November 10th.
Is this
Great.
based on the podcast that he hosts?
I think it is, yeah. I think like he goes more in depth. So I will also be looking for that podcast.
All right, Rachel, you're up.
Okay, so my first anticipated book is Dark Tides by Philippa Gregory. So this is the sequel to Tidelands, it came out last year, and it's definitely a deviation from her. She was writing about the Tudors forever, and then she was writing about the War of Roses. So now she's sort of writing more about it's the mid 17th century, and England is on the brink of civil war, basically. So she's writing about that time period, and her main character in the first book, at least, is a woman named Eleanor, who is a recent suspected widow. Her husband went out to sea and never came back, and she's just very struggling to survive. She lives in the marshlands and struggling to sort of make ends meet, and she is sort of a midwife healer type person, so everybody's always thinking she's a witch, of course, naturally. And it just follows her as she sort of meets this man, this priest, and sort of through her connection with him gets into a lot of danger. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything, but it definitely ends on a cliffhanger. So I have not yet actually read what the description of the second book is, because I almost don't want to.
Yeah.
I think I just want to open it and see if we pick up where we left off, or if we're following a new character. I'm not sure. So I'm really excited for that. I love Philippa Gregory's books. So yeah.
Okay, I have the first one of that series that you loaned to me, Rachel. So now I really have to get to it soon, because
now you have to get to it, because the second one comes out. Well, there are two publication dates. I'm assuming one is the UK publication date and one is the US, because it's either November 24th or December 1st.
Okay,
we'll see.
A lot of publication dates have been moving around this year, so
that's true too.
Okay, my first most anticipated book of fall 2020 is Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Jassy. And this is her second novel. Her debut novel was Homegoing. And this one I loved Homegoing, but this one sounds a lot different. And I'm really excited about it. Roxane Gay gave it a 5-star review on her Goodreads and just raved about it. So this novel is about a young or a 5th-year PhD student in neuroscience at Stanford. Her name is Gifty, is the main character. And she's studying depression and addiction because members of her family deal with both. And so that's what her research is based in. But she also grew up in a very evangelical faith. And so she is sort of wrestling with that as well as being a scientist. And it just sounds like a really interesting and moving novel. It's about a Ghanaian immigrant family. And I just loved her first book so much. So I'm really excited to read this one. And yeah, Roxane Gay called it absolutely transcendent. So I'm super excited. And this comes out very soon, September 8th, which is a week from today when the podcast is released on September 1st. You're
So
up.
my next pick is Crazy Stupid Romance by Alyssa K. Adams. This is actually the third book in a series. They're more companion novels than straight sequels, so you can pick up technically with any of them, but you should start with the first. It's about a group of men who are kind of influential people in their community. One is a baseball player, professional baseball player. Another owns a bunch of bars and restaurants in the town. And they all join this romance reading book club to help them be better in their relationships. And each book focuses on a different member of the club and kind of follows their romance story. And each book is a different subgenre of romance. So like the second one was a thriller romance, like a romantic thriller. And the first one was a second chance romance kind of thing. And so this third one obviously involves other people we've met before in the first two books. And it seems, based upon the synopsis, that it might be a friends to lovers kind of trope. And they all have kind of cute little names with bromance in the title. This one comes out October 27th, so you still have plenty of time to read the other two.
I've read the first one and I thought it was so good.
It's super cute, yeah.
I have the first two, but haven't read them yet. But I actually got the first one on your recommendation, Kathy, because I know you liked it a lot. And I think, is it Krista, our other friend who loves them?
I think so, yeah.
We have another friend who likes them. I think it's Krista. I don't know. I don't remember things anymore.
Oh, and Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a cat on the cover of that book?
Yes. It's the hero is holding a cat and a romance book.
Perfect.
Exactly.
They're really playing to their audience, I think, because I'm like,
They
oh
know
yes.
their audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly, you're up.
Okay, so this one, I think I'm very excited for it, but Rachel, I think you will be too. It's One Way or Another by Kara McDowell. Yes. And it is very sliding doors-ish. Were you drinking because that was on your list, or were you drinking because you're drinking? I'm sorry.
This is why I had a ton of backups, because I knew this would happen.
But basically it's out October 6th, and it is this young adult novel where this teenage girl doesn't like making decisions, and so now she has, it sounds like a little bit of a traumatic brain injury, and her life separates into what she would have happened if she does this thing versus this thing. And really anything that sounds like sliding doors, I am here for. So super excited. And it's out October 6th, but I don't have to wait because I have an ARC. So
I will be borrowing that from you.
you will be borrowing that, and you can send it to Rachel when you're done.
Yay.
Kelly, have you read The Post-Birthday World by Lionel Shriver?
I did. That and We Need to Talk About Kevin are the only two I've read of hers, but I loved both so much.
Yeah, The Post-Birthday World is another sliding doors-esque book I really enjoyed. I enjoy that as well. Another time trick, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as someone who also struggles with indecision a not small amount of the time, the chance to see what would happen if you did this versus that, like, I am absolutely here for it.
Yeah.
And also, just super fast, on the back here, it says the average person makes 35,000 decisions every single day. And the anxiety I have reading that, I'm like, oh God, that's too many. That's too many decisions. So,
No wonder we're exhausted all the time.
right? That's nonsense. Yeah.
Well, my next pick, fittingly, the title is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. So, of course, this book's been published in Sweden already, but the translated to English version is going to be published on September 8th, so a week from the day this podcast drops. And it's about I think it follows 8 different people. I don't know if they all have a POV in the book, but there are about 8 people at an apartment open house showing. And while they're there, the apartment gets robbed and they're all taken as hostages. And it's a total like hostage situation. And basically what happened, it's hard to say what happens because I don't know, it's like a lot of secrets get revealed is how they describe it. I tried to get this on NetGalley, but I was denied. So I was sad about that. But I love Frederick Bachman's books, so I'm just really excited about this one.
I have only read A Man Called Uva, and I tried to get into the hockey one. Beartown. But I couldn't. I didn't get far enough into it. But I would like to go back to it because I think I would like it. I just didn't get far enough into it.
Yeah.
This one does sound interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Beartown. I mean, I didn't love the violence that occurred on the page. Definite trigger warnings. But after that happened, I definitely felt like it was a very just well done portrayal of, you know, how hard it is for young women and all women really to, you know, see that their attackers are brought to justice. And it's just, it was infuriating, but a good book.
Yeah. Okay. My next book is a romance, and it is titled Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. And this publishes on October 6th. And it is, it deals with fan fiction and cosplay. So I love books about fan fiction, so I'm excited about that. So basically, there's this actor, his name's Marcus, and he's the star of a really popular television show called Gods of the Gates, which I'm guessing is like a Game of Thrones type. And he's, there's fan fiction written about this show, right? And he actually writes fan fiction secretly about his own show because he's frustrated with how his character is portrayed, and so he wants to like correct it. But he ends up meeting a fan of the show, April Whittier, and they meet and things happen, and she is, I guess, a plus size, so she's dealing with trolls on social media. It just sounds like a really great, like, fun romance, and I love stuff about fan fiction and cosplay, so I'm excited.
That one was on my list too.
I'm sorry, my doorbell's ringing. This happened last time. Hold on.
That's okay. Yeah, this one sounds super cute, and I guess it's a debut author. I think this is her first book.
I think
it might be her first traditional published, but I think she's done like self-publishing previously.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
I have already pre-ordered it. It sounds so fun. And I know I said I don't really like romance, but apparently that's a total lie.
Yeah, that's all you read now. It's your favorite.
It's starting to feel that way, although I'm reading, oh God, I'm never going to be able to remember the title, but the N.K. Jemisin we're reading for book club, and I am reading this like I have not read anything in a long time. I started yesterday morning, and I'm already a third of the way in. So.
Oh, wow.
I am loving it very, very much.
Oh, good. Yeah, I requested spoiler alert on NetGalley, and I think I got it, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
The character, I think, is supposed to be based off of Jaime from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, based on the cover.
Yeah.
I love the cover, and I love her, like, red hair. It looks so, I'm just so excited.
I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah. Okay, Kathy. Oh, wait, what, Rachel?
I just want to tell you guys she was canvassing for Sarah Gideon, so.
Yay!
We're voting Susan Collins out.
Yeah, get her out of there.
All right.
All right, Kathy, you're up.
Okay, so my next one is called When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole.
Oh,
And
yes.
it comes out September 15th. It is called Rear Window meets Get Out, and all of the press and blurbs for this. And basically, this woman, Sydney Green, notices her neighbors seem to be changing every time that she turns around. And there's for sale signs everywhere in her Brooklyn neighborhood. And it's kind of taking its cues from Jordan Peele, turning racism and gentrification into a horror story. And she teams up with a friend, her neighbor Theo, and they're trying to find out what happens to these people that are leaving. Could their disappearances be a little bit more sinister than they just moved away?
Wow.
Kelly, did you post something about that? Because that does sound familiar.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Because I mean, I am a sucker for, if you liked Get Out, get this. You know, read it, watch it, whatever. But yeah, that sounds amazing. And apparently she's written a ton of stuff, but it's all been like romance, I think. So this should be a pretty big departure, and I'm very excited. So
Cool.
yeah.
All right, your turn, Kelly.
Okay. So my next one is actually out today. Today being September 1st, when this drops. It's called Sanctuary by Paula Mendoza, and it's a dystopian set in the not too distant future. I think it's like 2030 something. So, I mean, really not that far away. And citizens have been microchipped and are being tracked, just like everybody's conservative relatives are ranting about on Facebook. And there's this family of undocumented immigrants, and they've managed to get like counterfeit chips so that they can live in the world and do things like get groceries. And the mom's chip starts malfunctioning, so they basically have to go on the run. And I love dystopians, even when it feels like we're living in one. So I'm very, very interested to read this. It sounds very good.
That does sound good. And I feel like nowadays I haven't read a good dystopian in a while, but it probably is time to read some, because it to me, it's like, it could always get worse. Let's read about it.
Yeah. That sounds great. All right, Rach.
Oh, my turn. Right. All right. So it's coming up on September now, which means the Christmas season is upon us. So my pick is a Christmas story. It's called In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. So it's a romance. Christina Lauren, they are two authors that write books together, and they usually write romance. And it's about this woman named Maylin Jones, and she basically is, hates her life. She hates her job, and she's living with her mom, and her romantic life is not going well. And on top of all of that, this is the last Christmas she's going to get to spend at her favorite place in the world, her family's cabin where they spend holidays. And I don't know why that's their last year there, but anyway, as she's driving home after the holidays, she is basically in what it sounds like a car accident. And then when she wakes up, it's before Christmas again, and she's on the plane to Utah. So she has to live the holiday over again. And it's basically Groundhog Day. So she lives the holiday over again. She has to do it over and over again until she gets it right. So I'm really excited and I know, Julia, you love stories like that too, with a time loop. So I think it sounds good.
This was also on my list. I'm very excited.
The second you said it, I was like, oh, that was on Kathy's list, I bet.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, that's In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, and that is out October 20th.
So early for a Christmas publication.
Yeah, it's kind of nice though, because I feel like if you're trying to get it from the library, sometimes right when it comes out, you can't get it right away. There's always a list, or you have to, or if you're from a very small town in Maine like me, you have to wait for it to come in from the interlibrary loan. So,
Yeah, and people can make sure they can get it for Christmas shopping, for gifts for people.
Yep. Especially nowadays, if you're shopping online, especially shipping times are longer.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that little bit of leeway.
Yeah, because I don't want to read a book that comes out in December. I might not get to it, and then Christmas is over, and then I'm not in the mood anymore. So it is nice to have it right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Kathy.
My next book is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin, and it comes out September 1st. It is a sequel. The first book is called Serpent and Dove, and the premise is that a witch, due to unforeseen circumstances, ends up having to marry a witch hunter in order to save herself. And there's a lot of action and romance and really good fall with witches and everything. So it'd be a good fall pick. And yeah, it's coming out September 1st, as I mentioned. So plenty of time still for you to get both.
That sounds great.
I have the first one, but I need to read it. So.
Hey, that's Kelly's line.
I know.
Yeah, it was like literal story of my life.
I changed it a little. Okay, I can't decide which one to go with next. Ugh. All right, I'm going to go with my next anticipated read is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. So Naomi Novik wrote Uprooted and Spinning Silver. So she writes fantasy. And this one is the first in a series. So it's the series will be called I think it's pronounced Sholomance series. And it's set at a school, which I love books set at schools, like boarding schools. And basically, it is a school for the magically gifted where failure means certain death. And it says for real. And so this main character, Elle, starts to uncover secrets at the school. And the weird thing about this school is there's no teachers. There are no holidays, no friendships. It basically sounds like you just are put in the school and you have to like learn the magic you need to learn to survive. So it sounds pretty cutthroat. And so, yeah, I don't know too much about it. The Goodreads description is pretty general, but it sounds like there's a lot of like allies being formed and, secrets and things like that. So it sounds dark. It sounds really good. It sounds very Naomi Novik. So that is A Deadly Education, and that comes out on September 29th.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I went out of order, and it should have been Kelly next. I'm sorry, Kelly.
Okay, so my next one is Grown by Tiffany Jackson. It's her fourth book. She's freaking amazing. If you haven't read her yet, you absolutely should. A lot of hers tend to like center around crimes, but it's not really like a thriller necessarily. Her most recent one, which I was going to recommend to you guys if we had done that segment, so I'm going to just do it now anyway, was called Let Me Hear a Rhyme, and it's these friends in late 90s Brooklyn whose friend has been murdered in a drive-by shooting, and they find this music that he's done, like raps that he's done, and they decide that they're going to keep his legacy alive by turning him into a music star. So they pretend that he's still alive and, like, oh, I'm sorry, he's dealing with family stuff, but you should totally sign him to a deal. Here's his music. Isn't he great? And it's just absolutely phenomenal. And her new one, Grown, is out September 15th, so just a couple weeks to go. And it's a contempt YA, but centering around a murder, and there's some kind of Me Too element to it. I don't know that much about it, and she's one of those authors that, like, whatever she does, I'll buy, so I don't really pay that much attention to what it's about, because she wrote it, so I know it's going to be amazing. So, Grown, out September 15th, but her earlier 3 are out now, and they are all, like, smack you in the face amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
Rach, do you have another one?
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty more.
I know, me too.
So my next pick is sort of a mystery thriller type pick, and it's called And Now She's Gone by Rachel Housel Hall. And I did not just pick it because we share a first and last name. It sounds really good. It follows 2 women, Isabel Lincoln and Grayson Sykes, and one is trying to find the other, but it's like a cat and mouse kind of a thing, because it's like, is she really missing or is she just gone? It sounds like sort of one of those, it's going to be like a fast-paced, got to get to the end, got to find out what's going on, got to solve the mystery kind of book. So I like having those. And that is published on September 22nd. So it's coming up soon.
September is going to bankrupt me.
September has so many books.
Like, so many.
I feel like a lot of books got pushed, and that might be part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think I messed up the order. So Kathy, why don't you go next?
Okay, so my next pick is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, and it's basically teased as 2 sisters, 1 brutal murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself, and an intoxicating romance. So there's some witches, and they live secretly among humans, and it sounds like these 2 witch sisters have murder that happens. Their sister is killed, and they are out to seek vengeance for her death. There's magic and some romance, and it releases October 27th. So perfect Halloween read.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds good.
She's the one that did that Jack the Ripper thing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This one sounds very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I feel about Halloween. And witches and murder.
Okay, I'm excited about this next one. I think it's a good book to kind of cozy up with in the wintertime. It's out on November 10th. And this is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Amanda Collins. And it's a British mystery romance set in the mid-1800s. And there are 2 main characters. Lady Catherine Bascombe is a newspaper columnist, and she writes about all of the nefarious criminals who are preying on the women of London. So she's like, her columns are like, I'm warning you about this guy that's out there doing bad things, and, you know, protect yourself, basically. And one of her columns is so good, it leads to an arrest of this one criminal in particular. So now she's like, oh no, now I'm like super famous and people are after me. So she flees to this country home. And then the other main character is Detective Inspector Andrew Eversham. And he's a man of principle, and his superiors are like, you need to solve these murders and these crimes more quickly because this columnist is beating you to the punch. And he's like, no, I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to do it correctly. So she's like his nemesis. So of course he like meets up with her at this house party. There's a murder. So now not only is he having to hang out with his nemesis, but like she's also butting into this like murder investigation. So it sounds super cute. It sounds to me like if you've ever watched or read the Franny Fisher series, Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, it sounds a little bit like that. It sounds like it's a mystery, but it's got the romance. It sounds a little sexy, and it's British. So I just feel like I'm just gonna cozy up with this book, and I'm excited. So that is A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem. It's the first in the series, and it's by Amanda Collins, out on November 10th.
That sounds super fun.
I know. She call it, one part of the description is Andrew impresses her with his lethal competency. And I'm like, yes, competency is sexy. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I co-sign.
I feel like that's, I don't know. That sounds like one of those left-handed compliments, you know? Where it's like, wait, what? That's not nice at all. Like, good job not being able, like, not walking into walls as you're moving around the world.
No, he's good at his job. I like reading about people who are good at their jobs.
I don't know.
All right, Kelly.
He's, no, you know, it's like, I like people who are good at their jobs too, but, you know, like, he's not an excellent sleuth.
He is good. He's just not fast. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. No, that's all. And you should take your time and build a case and get the bad people, like, in jail forever.
Yeah.
Maybe,
right.
you know, Mr. Competent isn't going to get that done very well. I mean, and it sounds like I'm making fun of it, and I totally want to read it. So, it sounds amazing.
Okay. Well, I don't know where we are. Should we each do maybe one more? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kelly, you're up.
Okay. So one of the things that I will always want to buy is something where it's like, oh, this book is super feminist. And I'm like, yes, please. So Don't Judge Me is out November 10th. I did talk about it very recently, but it's based on a story here in Maryland, which is awesome. And it's a middle grade about girls who find that, like, one of theirs older brother has made a list rating them on their appearance, and they're going to take him down. And that's all I've ever wanted. So Don't Judge Me, November 10th, by Lisa Schroeder, who is just fantastic. So.
Sounds great. Yeah. All right, Rach.
So I'm going to go with The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. It's a YA sci-fi fantasy about the world that it's set in has these, like, gleaming cities that are in the sky that are being held up by these, like, intricate engines, and the people who keep them going live on the earth, and the two societies, like, don't mix. It's like a class thing. And I think what happens is, like, this prince from the cities in the sky ends up, like, basically falling to earth and befriending a girl on the surface, and their lives get intertwined, and sounds like a little bit of a forbidden romance, maybe. Mm-hmm. So, and I've never read anything by Megan Spooner, but I've read the Illuminae Files, which Amy Kaufman wrote with Jay Kristoff, and I loved them. So I thought that this sounded really good.
That does sound really good. All right, Kathy, what's your last pick?
All right, so it's Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth with illustrations by Sarah Lotman. And this revolves around kind of a dual timeline story. So the story begins in 1902 at the Brookhant School for Girls. There's a group of girls who are obsessed with this daring young writer named Mary McLean, who is the author of a scandalous best-selling memoir. This group ends up dying in this weird yellow jacket bee attack.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the school closes down, but not before 3 other people mysteriously die on the property, each in a troubling way. So we fast forward a century later, and there's this new wonder kid writer, Merritt Emmons, who is publishing a book about the school and everything that happened there. Her best-selling book, obviously, as it tends to do, launches a movie adaptation of this story, a horror adaptation to be specific, and things start kind of going wrong on the set. And it seems like there might be a curse involved with the school that they have now kind of gotten entangled in. And eventually it becomes hard to tell where the curse leaves off and Hollywood begins.
Ooh.
And that comes out October 20th.
Wow.
Sorry, what is the title again?
Plain Bad Heroines.
And it's a horror or a thriller?
Mystery horror sounds like, yeah.
So much of that sounds like right up my alley, but I don't usually read horror, but I think I'm going to pick that up. That sounds really good. Okay, I think for my last pick, I'm going to go with a science fiction. So this is Black Sun by Rebecca Rowanhorse. And this is the first in a series. And it is, it says, in the holy city of Tova, the winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal, but this year it coincides with the solar eclipse. And so in this, it's a book that's inspired by the civilization's pre-Columbian Americas, and it has a lot of like celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and basically this eclipse happens during the solstice, and meanwhile there's a ship on its way to the city of Tova with one guy on it, and they have this prophecy that when the earth and sky converge under the black sun, a god will return. So I don't really know, I can't really tell from the description exactly what's going to happen, but there's something about this guy who's on the ship. The captain of the ship doesn't trust him, but they're heading to Tova and then things will happen. But it just sounds, I haven't read any of Rebecca Rowanhorse's books. I've been meaning to, because I've heard great things, and I love books set in space, so I am excited about this new series. So that, again, is Black Sun by Rebecca Rowanhorse, and it comes out on October 13th.
Nice.
Okay, I think we have successfully hyped fall books.
Ooh, super fast. Lindy West has a new book out on October 20th called Shit Actually. I love her. It's about movies. I love her. I love movies. So I'm done now, I promise.
That sounds and yeah. I think collectively we would definitely want to plug Jodi Picoult's new book.
Yes.
I think none of us said it because we thought everyone else was going to say it.
That's a good
That's
point.
exactly what happened. What,
Kelly, I thought you were going to say it. That's why I didn't have it on my list.
I was going to, and then I thought Rachel was going to say it because it sounds like a sliding doors deal.
Oh.
Welcome to our Gift of the Magi moment, everybody.
Yeah, that's The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult, out September 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, for joining us. This was super fun.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Kathy, do you want to plug your blog one more time? Tell everybody how they can find you.
All right. So my blog URL is glass-of-wine.blogspot.com.
Nice. Great. We'll be sure to follow that. And do you have social media that you use for people to follow?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. It's just Kathy Coe, Kathycoe. And I'm always happy to talk books over on Twitter.
Awesome. Awesome. And you can follow us at WYSR_podcast on Twitter and on Instagram. You can friend us on Goodreads at What You Should Read Podcast. You can email us at whatyoushouldreadpodcast@gmail.com. And please give us a rating and a review. We'd appreciate it. Thanks.
And now you know what you should read.
You're welcome.
Yay.